Welcome to DKM episode 17. We appreciate that you took your time to listen to our lovely podcast, and I'm here with my best buds, Kenny and Daniel. Now, I wanted to ask you guys about one thing in particular. When it comes to Pokemon, how do you say this Pokemon's name? Is it Arceus or Arceus? Is it Rayquaza or Rayquaza? I'm not sure if you guys ever had this discussion with anyone else, but
Bro, I've thrown fists about Rayquaza and Rayquaza.
Right?
He's gonna punch you over the mic.
What do you call it?
I've
I
always said
want to know.
Rayquaza.
Okay, yeah, it's Rayquaza.
I
Yeah,
say Rayquaza and also Arceus, but if
Yes.
you look at the Pokemon Direct that came out recently, they said Arceus. At least the English translator said Arceus. They said Arceus like a couple times, I think. So I don't know. And then the Pokemon movies,
Yeah, they say Arceus.
Ash, and they say Arceus. So I mean, honestly, it's one of those things where you say America, you say tomato, and then the British say tomato.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really bother me. I'll still take it either way.
Yeah, my
and my response to that is revolution.
Oh, you spell color with a U?
Sonic Color.
Color?
It kind of reminds me of like Ra's al Ghul. Like, how do you pronounce it? Like the Nolan trilogy pronounces Ra's al Ghul, and then later in the games and in the comics and the show they say Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah, it's one of those things where if you're not someone in the know, and like in the know, I mean like you're just casually in it, and you just like maybe you're just reading his name, and someone says it like this, and then you hear the other version, you're like, wait, what the fuck? What are you guys even talking about? So it's something like that.
I've always wondered about pronunciations. Like, I understand it's like when people say review versus review. Like, I get the former because it makes sense. You're re-looking at something again. But, James made a video about like word pronunciations, how he hated how bury and buried is supposed to be pronounced the same, but it's two completely different things. My favorite was like, what's the plural for moose? And it's just moose.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's the plural for goose? Geese. Well, watch out for the motherfucking meese.
I love it how it's like, instead of what was it? When you say, instead of saying penises, you say peni because it's multiple. Because you know how you could say what was it? So there's goose,
Cactus and cacti.
there's goose and geese. There's when you say multiple of something,
Mice,
some people say like
meese.
they
Come on.
right. So stuff
Yeah.
like that. So like they add like double I's and stuff. So I would say peni, just to be very clear that hey, this is an abundance of penises in this bag, a bag of dicks, if you will. So it's penis inside this bag. So I guess it's more about just like how you first heard the word, and then it just sticks to you.
Yeah.
And then someone comes up to you and says like, hey, either you say it the right way or your kneecaps will become privileges at this point, and I'm going to remove those privileges.
But then again, like I've also heard like people say like even the creators, like, the whole GIF or GIF thing,
Yeah.
like, oh, the creator said it was GIF, but it makes sense to say GIF because it's graphics and blah 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 blah. But I don't know how I feel about when like the creator of like a word or a world or a setting or something will say, oh, it's either or. Like, do they say that because it doesn't really matter, or they just want to keep the discourse low, or it's like, oh, I don't really care, but it's like, well, how do you say it then? Do you change it up, or?
I think it's more about being
I think it's where you're raised.
what was it? It's more about people's like, hey, I don't think you should say it like that, even though we all know what the person was saying. So like the great example that you were talking about, GIF and GIF.
Yeah.
If someone says GIF, I won't really tell them anything. At least not anymore. Like I honestly don't care if they.
In fact, I don't even talk to them anymore.
Oh, wait a minute.
I walk away and they never hear from me again. You should ask my ex-wife what happened. I didn't even show up for the divorce papers. I just never showed back up.
So
Burn your house down.
Oh God. So
So about Pokemon.
dude.
Yeah,
Okay,
Pokemon.
So let's talk about it, cause holy jeez.
Pokemon.
There were-
Snap.
which one?
Jesus
Oh
Christ.
yeah, Pokemon
baby,
Snap's
let's
coming out
go!
this year too. Dang.
Yo,
dude.
we're bringing back that like blockbuster printing machine, my guy. This is gonna be.
So
we're
who's
bringing that
excited
back.
for
Honestly-
Gen 4 remake?
Well, before we continue,
Okay.
I'm sure.
Well, let's talk to Pokemon Snap first
No,
because I think that's
not
coming out.
Pokemon
That's coming out
Snap.
later this month.
the thing they did at the beginning of the direct, in case anyone's listening they don't know, at the beginning of the Pokemon Direct, they had like this basically this montage of Pokemon, everything they had to do,
and showcasing all the merchandise,
all the games, all the promotions, all the movies, everything. Like it says, oh, 1990 this, 2000, 2006, 2010, so on and so forth, and it was actually a quite nice homage to the 25 years of Pokemon. It was nice. I choked up a bit because it brought back memories of my childhood and how bliss it was for me to be. I was it.
But I just want to say it's bullshit though, because they showed those Link battles going by like really fucking quick. Anybody who's actually grew up with them, that shit was like you read a chapter of a book between moves.
Or when you play Gen 4 games and you you try to save and it says saving a lot of data.
Oh yeah.
You have to wait like 10 minutes.
Oh my god. Jesus. Oh, I remember.
So I mean that was a nice homage, and I was like, this is nice. Get a little choked up remembering the old school, the nice memories of being blissful because of how ignorant I was when I was a kid. But it was quite nice. But yeah, about the Gen 4 remakes, a lot of people are really upset about
the art style.
But
if you look at it, right? So
like,
if you look at it not
it.
from the zoomed up angle, like the way that the camera was meant to be in Gen 4, and you look at the new remake, it's literally Gen 4 just in 3D.
Right, and not even that. Like, if you look at Gen 4 or in the previous gens, it was just basically pixelated chibis.
Yeah.
And now they just added more pixels.
I think what's so jarring about it is that, we went from Let's Go, which was a remake of Gen 1, to Sword and Shield, where they kind of like use the overworld sprites that are the same when they're in battle. It's kind of like when you go play like Final Fantasy VII, right? And you look up the original like overworld sprites, and it's like, man, they actually told a fucking narrative with this, blocky like I'm going to go ahead and pull up an example about like, low poly ass Cloud like running around Midgar and shit. And when you play like the PC versions, what people do is that they mod in the battle models, like when they're doing the fights and shit. So it's more like 1-to-1. I think that's just what makes it so jarring, is that like we went from Let's Go that's like 1-to-1 in the world and into the battle scene, and I kind of like it for that aesthetic. But I guess going back to being how if it was a natural evolution between 2D 3D sprites on the DS to the Switch,
right? Which is why I think I'm sort of a little concerned about how they're going to do this gen in particular, because I think a lot of people were expecting the Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire treatment that Pokemon gave to Gen 3, where obviously in Gen 3 their remakes, it was 3D, the character was looked normal looking, I guess, when it comes to like dimensions, their physical dimensions, and it looked quite nice. It was a really, really nice remake of Gen 3, which is honestly one of the better generations out there.
I still haven't played it. I really should have. I really should have, because Gen 3...
If you look at the trailer between Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire and Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, you would see the obvious difference of like, hey, a lot of people look a lot more normal, a lot more proportionate in Gen 3 instead of in Gen 4, where everyone's all chibi-like, which... Honestly, this is the same treatment that people didn't like the Wind Waker, where it was, hey, it's too cartoonish, it's too this, it's too that. I expected a little bit more grimace, a little bit more gray in my game.
Yeah, but then that game ended up being one of the best Legend of Zelda games.
Basically.
So like,
dude, it was.
It's all not the
I think
beholder.
it's more about preference.
Yeah.
I will say though that they're bringing back the underground. If you look at the trailer, they're bringing back the underground portion of Gen 4.
What's Gen 4 without the underground though? I mean, honestly,
dude, I spent so much time on it.
So did I. Hello, fossils. Duh.
Hell yeah.
I propose that the Death Grips music is playing while you're in the underground.
No. I think anything. I want DMC. What was it? Run DMC. Always in the background, just muffled.
Hell yeah.
Muffled.
You just you're breaking through the wall and you see the members just be like, hey, what's up? Thank you for saving us, trainer. Now you do a Pokemon battle.
Look, so I'm glad that, I'm not sure if you guys remember, but when it came to Gen 4, you needed a USB link cable to connect to the online global connection that Pokemon had for Gen 4 for Diamond and Pearl, so you can trade globally, you can do everything globally.
What do you mean you needed a USB link cable? No, you didn't.
There was like I think there was a link cable or
no, that's Game Boy.
No, No.
No,
I'm
no,
using
no. It was. I'm looking it
I
up right
use
now.
link cable because
Pokemon
it's the only thing
Gen
that
4.
comes to mind. But you needed to connect the USB to your computer, I think, and then connect that to your
Maybe on
DS.
the original
I could be wrong.
DS, but on the DS
Right. It
Lite,
was
it wasn't required. You can just connect to the Wi-Fi and you're good to
right
go.
because the game. Well, remember the game first came out with the OG
Yeah.
DS. That's what I mean. So,
I still remember.
and then this was obviously
Because you're talking about like that shot in the opening of the director. They show the guy like playing Gen 4, and he had like plugged in
Right.
something to the.
right. That plus I also had an OG DS and I wanted to trade online, but I couldn't until I got a DS Lite and then later a DSi, and I was able to connect to the Wi-Fi, which that wasn't an issue anymore at the end. But what I'm saying is, this was Pokemon's first attempt to actually do global.
Wireless,
so this was like a game global wireless, and it was very innovative. So I'm actually super hyped on what they're going to do now, especially when it comes to the underground.
Oh,
like
the underground.
Like, yeah, because the underground, like, I'm not sure if you, Daniel, if you know, but to unlock Spiritomb, which is one of the mythical Pokemon in Gen 4, you needed to capture 100 flags in 100 people's flags in their base, and then go back to your base. Basically, capture the flag, and it's got to be 100 different people. That being said, I wonder how they're going to implement that into this new gen. Into
somebody
this
somebody made a very good assumption on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, maybe there could be like a toggle to where you can either have everybody in the world in the underground, kind of like how they have the wild areas, or you can have to where it's like just your friends running around in the underground.
Yeah, like you could just join a public server and then or do a private server. Yeah, something like that. That seems nice. Well, that being said, we won't know much about it because obviously this is just teasing for the future stuff. So, but I'm excited. Even more so about the new open world prequel game coming out.
God. Yes, let's talk about it because I'm super hyped about it. It comes out in 2022.
Well, before I get to that, wait. Before we get to that, let me quickly say my thoughts on the Gen 4 remake.
Sure.
I'm excited. I haven't touched Gen 4 since
Jesus
2007.
Christ.
It was the last Pokemon game. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I think a lot of people, they go through a phase of Pokemon where there's like a particular gen where they get like really into it, right? For me, it was Gen 1 and 3. I never played Gen 2, surprisingly. I've only played a small amount of the remake on the DS on a plane trip, right? But I vividly remember my excitement for Gen 4. I still remembered, funny story, my dad, I was a kid and my dad I told my dad, like, I want to get the Gen 4 game, and he was like, okay, cool. So we go pick up the game, and he wanted to go take me and his family to the beach. I sat on the beach playing Pokemon.
I don't blame you. I used to do that too. I used to do that all the time.
Focusing on your screen.
Yes.
Oh my god, it was awful. But damn it, I got my first gym badge in that fucking trip, man. It was worth it. But yeah, the Gen 4 remake, I mean, I'm not against the art style. It's just a little bit jarring, but I could accept it. Plus, I love the Tiny Dawn memes. I think that shit's hilarious.
I mean, but at least the sprites are normal in
the only
battle, just like any other game.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, again, that's what makes it so jarring is that, like, we're on the Switch now. It's kind of like, like, and a lot of people forget that there was Pokemon Coliseum and Gale of Darkness, and they did the whole full 3D models in battle and on the overworld sprite, but the fact that they went back to that, I guess they just wanted to do a callback. I just don't think
it's a different developer,
which is interesting, right? Like that's interesting that they handed this off to another development. Now, of course, they're being directed by the original people who made the game,
just by Masuda. That's the only person that's directing it.
Right, and
it's not directed by the two people, or is that like the Arceus game?
I think Arceus is just that's made by Game Freak.
Right, ILCA is the company. ILCA Inc. is the people who are gonna make this brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl remix. And that being said, they have worked with Pokemon before. I think they worked on Pokemon Home.
Yeah, they worked on Pokemon Home.
Right.
Hey, who remembers Pokemon Sleep? I'm still waiting for that app.
Pokemon, wow.
Yeah, that was a weird one. But yeah, I think the Gen 4 remake, I'm looking forward to it. I'm not against the whole like thing. The only thing I did notice though that clearly the game is still in development because in the bottom, because people seem to forget that, is that this isn't the final footage.
Games are subject to change all the time.
Well, in case you guys didn't know, Game Freak were traditionally they were the one who handled all not only the core games but also the remakes.
Yep.
So Fire Red, Leaf Green, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire,
Yeah.
and Let's Go.
Yeah.
So, but the reason why they're not working on this remake is because they're working on Legends Arceus,
Which is a huge
And-
game. That's
which
gonna be
I'm
a
looking
big
forward to.
game, man. I mean, it's an open world.
Right.
So the only thing I have to say about the Gen 4 remake is that it does definitely look like it needs a little bit more work because I noticed that in the battle screens, like everybody's lighting looks really off. Like, and no one looks like.
Yeah, well, remember, they
Like,
still
I don't
have
know,
a
it's
whole
just something I
almost
noticed.
a year to polish. So.
Yeah. I'm assuming that because they're probably not using the exact same engine as like Let's Go. I just think that it's so jarring. Like I liked Let's Go's presentation
how they
the most.
are
Probably
keeping very faithful to Gen 4.
Mm-hmm.
Which that's a question. Yeah, I'm really curious to see like because this is remake territory. Are they going to be adding new content or are they just going to be
possibly?
I really hope that they do somewhat of a similar treatment of Oras that they do to these two games, like where you know how you had the Emerald episode,
Yeah, the Delta episode. Yeah,
Delta episode. You'll have something kind of similar with like maybe the Distortion World, and instead of it being like this one little portal at the top of Mount Cornet, they do like maybe it starts to have ripples everywhere across.
Well,
Sinnoh.
one thing about remakes specifically, personally, I still think when it comes to remakes, Heart Gold and Soul Silver are the best games. Still the best game, and this is just me being a boomer because I grew up with old school Pokemon, and then not only Gen 4 being my favorite gen, but just the amount of content that was really packed into Heart Gold and Soul Silver. It's just
yeah, absolutely. The fact you put the whole fucking previous region in
everything
in the base
they
game.
added so much.
They added a lot. Yeah,
that's crazy.
So much. They added
new
to the story.
routes. They added new story. They added
phenomenal.
They brought in
phenomenal.
What was it? Pokemon Crystal story into the main game.
Phenomenal.
They brought in
like
ways...
that must have been such a pleasant surprise, like for the people who played Gen 2 when it came out. Like, hey, guess what? Fucko, you just only beat half the game.
Apparently, Sinnoh and Johto are connected. Geologically, they're connected.
Well, yeah, pretty much. It's like, hey, did you guys know we've discovered new Pokemon? Well, where is it? Oh, it's just just a couple hills over. That's about it.
And,
wow.
Here's the thing about remakes in general. So with the Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, Kenny, you were talking about the Delta episode. It was great.
Yeah.
Now since
what's a Delta episode for like the audience?
Sure.
No spoilers
so after
included.
You complete, right. So no spoilers.
Because this was exclusive to Omega,
no, both.
right?
It was
Omega
both.
Ruby
it was
and
both
Alpha
Omega Ruby Alpha
Sapphire.
Sapphire. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like for the remakes for Gen 3.
Right. So to do a non-spoiler,
okay.
I'm not sure why you even need a non-spoiler if the game came out a while ago. But anyways, to give you a non-spoiler, a lot of the games, a lot of the after post-game material only gets unlocked after you defeat the Pokemon League. So once you defeat the Pokemon League, someone tells you that says, "Hey, you think you're tough? Why don't you come over here and flex that toughness on me?" It opens up a new story where there's an old clan that actually dealt with dragons, and the Delta episode is based on Rayquaza. So if you have Omega Ruby, your main story is focused on obviously Groudon. If you have Alpha Sapphire, it's focused on Kyogre. And then once you defeat,
Kind of like the
Pokemon
filler
League,
for like Pokemon.
Oh
Emerald,
yeah,
much.
I remember.
right.
Yeah, I remember the art.
It becomes a little bit of a hey, here's an extra content to give it to you, and this wasn't really advertised, and it was quite great. The only part that was advertised was the character involved in Delta episode, but it's basically a nice epilogue to the story. It closes everything out when it comes to the main storyline. It's actually nice. It was a nice episode. I'm glad the remakes put it in there. So I'm not sure if you remember, Daniel.
Legendaries to catch in that game.
It was great. It was great. One thing about that was awesome that now they're not doing anymore. Where back in from Gen 1 through Gen 4, it's like, hey, do you want red? Do you want blue? Or do you want our third game yellow? Do you want silver? Do you want gold? Or do you want
Right.
crystal? Do you want ruby? Do you want sapphire? Do you want emerald?
Sapphire,
and then diamond, pearl,
yeah.
platinum. The thing about Gen 4 on the original is that you can catch Giratina, which is the box art Pokemon in platinum, after you defeat the Pokemon League. So I'm really interested.
Right, I remember.
I'm really interested how they're gonna implement this, because Giratina is our Giratina, if you want to say it that.
Oh
way.
God, shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
Back to our topic about Rayquaza, Rayquaza, Arceus, Arceus. So that's my thing about it. Like, I'm really excited how they're going to implement this and how they're really going to fix the Gen 4 issues, like how you couldn't catch Arceus, you couldn't catch Shaymin, you couldn't catch Darkrai, legitly, because the data was in the game, but you didn't have the key.
And somebody was actually saying, like, they really, like, the Gen 4 events for the mythical Pokemons, legendaries, whatever you want to call them, they need to hold true to those. Like, they need to bring those back as either like obtainable items where they don't need to be online or something, or they need to distribute it as a mystery event, and you get the item and then you go to the place that it originally like was in Gen 4 and do the event the same way that it was intended to be played out. Like the flute, you go to the top of Mount Coronet, you play the flute. Arceus,
the Azure flute.
Yeah. Or you have
these holographic stairs come up, and then you get to it.
And then there's also Oak's letter, and then you have the hotel key or the motel key.
Yeah, the motel key, and then with Shaymin, it was like this. You got to go to this mirror-like rock, activate this thing, and then this pathway opens up, and then you'll be able to go to the island where Shaymin resides.
Yeah, and then the key is like you open up the locked house behind the Pokemon Center. I think it's the center. Yeah. And then you have a little kid that's having bad nightmares, and then No, you. That's right. You lay down. I'm thinking of Cresselia. You lay down in the bed. You fall asleep, and then you wake up from. I think you wake up from nightmares.
No, you have a dream.
There you go.
You wake up. You wake up into this island called New Moon Island, or
I think Full
like
Moon. Yeah, New Moon Island. New
Moon Island, and then Darkray's like, "Hey, I'm the Freddy Krueger of this place. How about you?" And then you pull out your.
I just realized that.
Yeah. Dialga, the Master of Time, and just stomps on him, and then he's like.
Okay, so back to Legends Arceus though, like.
Yeah, let's get that because Kenny wants
How
to talk about it.
do you guys feel about it being an action with some RPG elements? It's not an RPG game.
Okay, so
Well, that's interesting because they said that it's going to be an active time battle system similar to Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy, apparently.
So,
according to some slides that were translated,
Pokemon move around and dodge attacks.
I'm assuming that the battles are going to be the same as they always been. I just assume that it's all going to be timing focused now.
Like,
where it's like
in this Pokemon game, it's optional to get into Pokemon battles. You can just throw your Pokeball at Pokemon.
But that's the thing, though. I'm assuming you still need to weaken certain Pokemon in order to
as well. Like,
in order to catch them.
There's a Garchomp that you were in battle with in the trailer.
I think that was Gen 4.
And he had fucking
I think that was Gen 4 remake. I don't think that was the Arceus.
No, that's Arceus.
No,
oh, okay, my bad.
That's yeah. There's a shot where like the trainer threw out a Pokemon and like they're fighting and the camera's like spinning.
There's like a Rhyhorn that it shows like a Riolu fighting.
Yeah. Okay. Can I just get this clarification? Is Lucario a legendary or is he just a really rare Pokemon?
A lot of people, because of the movies, a lot of people really think he's either Gen 3.
That's what I was thinking.
Right. So because of the movies, people think that, hey, this movie released while Gen 3 was out, so it was actually Gen 4. Lucario's a Gen 4 Pokemon, and because it involved because he was a strong Pokemon fighting other mythical legendary Pokemon, so everyone thinks that, oh, he must be legendary. No, it's just misconceptions for people who don't.
But he's a cool-ass looking Pokemon, and you can't...
Cool-ass Pokemon.
He is pretty cool,
cool-ass looking Pokemon.
He got the baggy shorts.
Got the dreads.
Bro. Bro, he's got the spikes. Come on.
Honestly, he's
dude. He's
and
punk.
when it comes to the meta scene, when it comes to competitive Pokemon games, he's actually pretty good at Pokemon. Depending on if you're playing like non-Uber stuff. Me being a nerd, I'm sorry for bringing this up, but yeah.
Yeah, I never got into like remotely into like competitive Pokemon.
Here's the thing about, okay, so this is what I'm really excited about, the possibilities that Arceus is going to come out with, the Legends Arceus game. So this is Sinnoh before Sinnoh is what we know today, right? So
right,
I'm really excited that it's going to be one of these things where, hey, Sinnoh is completely barren. There's only one city, one town, and you as the protagonist, the main character, are you going to go out, explore different areas, and establish the cities that we know and love in the modern Pokemon games? Veilstone
right.
City, all these other games, all these other places.
I think that town that they showed in like the trailer is Jubilife.
I think so too. I think so too.
Because there's like a fork in the road right before you leave the town, and that's kind of how Jubilife is laid out. Right. Personally, I don't think that they're going to be establishing like the towns that were in Gen 4. I think those towns are already going to be there. They're just going to be a lot smaller. But
right.
On a different note, did you guys notice the little emblem that's on the shoulder of both Dawn and Lucas in the
I saw it, but I don't know what
it did they have official names now?
Their original names were Dawn and Lucas.
I mean, because no, I'm talking about the Legends, because I know that Dawn and Lucas in the Legends game, they share similar looks and stuff. But I like to just chalk that up as just like, I don't want to say laziness because they've done this before. Like well, to be fair, a lot of games like share the same characters.
Well, then
what's a good
another
example?
way you can look at it is like I don't know. Yeah,
you can say the great grandparents. I mean,
it's a nostalgia grab for that one.
Right.
But
that too.
Think about. I like to think about it as, imagine this, right? The Pokemon game is not focused on gym battles or Pokemon League because it does not exist. All it focuses on is, hey, here's a game open.
Which I'm curious about. What's the end goal?
So maybe the end goal is
to find all the Pokemon. The whole point of the game is to make.
So they officially are making a game that's all about
catching them all. It's making the Pokédex in the first place.
The first Pokédex. Essentially not only that, like imagine a game where it's focusing not just on gyms, not just on Pokemon Leagues, just developing the world itself. Yeah. You are building the Sinnoh region because it's maybe there's some corruptions happening here and there. I'm not sure if you've seen this movie, Daniel, but Kenny, do you remember the Arceus movie?
Yeah.
Where Arceus was randomly attacking Dialga and Palkia, and Ash had to go back in time to figure out, hey, let me help out what the heck is going on, why Arceus is doing all this stuff, because Dialga sent him back in time.
Yeah.
Something like that, I think, would be a nice, decent, how would I say, narrative plot point to figure out with this new Arceus Legends, where Arceus is mainly involved into the series because
I think he
Mount
will.
Coronet is basically right. Mount Coronet is basically our Mount Olympus, right, where where the gods preside.
Well, yeah.
Dialga, Palkia, Arceus
it's also
preside.
the tallest mountain in all of Pokemon.
Hey,
right.
It's like that scene with Mean Girls. Like, hey, dude, you want to go fight God?
So maybe the antagonist will have to maybe take advantage of the corruption that's happening in Sinnoh because they're trying to siphon the power off of the god Pokemons. Yeah. The temporal, spatial, and god Pokemon.
But who are they going to make the bad guy? Because if you look at the sleeves of the characters, they pretty much have the Team Galactic emblem on them.
Right. So I think, okay. So obviously in the original Gen 4,
yeah.
what was the antagonist's name? I can't remember. Cyrus. Cyrus wanted to get the power of these god Pokemons. Not Giratina, but Palkia, Dialga, maybe even Arceus, in order to develop a world which way he sees fit. And then he realizes, especially in Platinum, where he's like, damn, dude, I'm a freaking idiot. Like, I really messed up.
Yeah, no shit.
I really messed up.
He did have a realization.
And not only that.
This is a guy who tries to be Gendo Ikari, and he doesn't really think through anything.
Not even that. Out of nowhere, this silent protagonist, this 10-year-old, he's going to put...
This fucking kid.
He comes out with an Infernape who looks back at Arceus, looks at Dialga, Mach punches him, and then Dialga's like... and then just dies, and then he looks back at Cyrus.
Damn, I got beaten by a monkey.
So
remember, return to monkey.
So
I'm kind of excited about if you can world build. You
Yeah,
know how in
yeah.
RPGs, like in Breath of the
but the thing
Can I
is,
deck
is
the
like,
shit out of Cyrus's
the thing
grandpa?
is
That's
that
all I
the
want to
game
know.
is an action game before it's an RPG.
right.
So
I'm just,
like in this game,
I'm
you're going to be
excited
able to
about, like,
climb. You're going to be able to do other things.
right, of course.
It's
That's
Breath
what
of
a
the
lot of
Wild.
people
Like-
are saying, that this game is very resemblant of Breath of the Wild.
You know what the funny thing was is I was watching the gameplay. The first game that actually came in my mind wasn't
Genshin
Breath of the
Impact.
Wild, but actually the Phantom Pain.
Genshin Impact.
No, Phantom Pain, because like the way how you're crouch walking
Bro,
and like
did you
walking
see
through
the
the bushes
fat
and
roll?
shit, and you have a
did
dodge
you see the
roll.
fat roll?
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, man, if we get like Dark Souls-esque bosses for Dialga and shit, that I will flip it.
I wonder how they're
going
gonna
to
handle
Dude, Elden Ring
legendary
looks dope as fuck.
encounters and whether or not you can catch them.
No, you just get smacked and you like get flung across the goddamn map.
So, like, I don't know if you guys played. Yeah, I'm sure you played Breath of the Wild. You know, the more
Of
Link
course.
is involved in certain areas, the more that area develops. I just really think that seeing, you know, you building Sinnoh would be fantastic. And what if they do this prequel games to all the other regions? Like, hey, we're to go back to Kanto, Johto, Hoenn, and we're gonna rebuild those areas. We're gonna see why there was a war between Groudon and Kyogre in the first place. You know, some prequel stuff that
aside from stupid writing that one want water, other
yeah,
want
other
earth.
than that, yeah, that was pretty dumb.
Literally, that's all. Like as I'm playing the games, like what the fuck do these two want? Like one wants to just dry up the earth, and and then it's like an emerald. They're like, wow, our plans are really fucking stupid.
Right. So that's why I'm kind of interested in how they're going to take this prequel, how they're going to build the Pokemon world, how they're going to develop the lore as well. And to tell you the truth, a lot of people are more hype about this game, you know, Arceus Legends, over the Gen 4 remakes. So I hope it goes the right way. I hope they make it more into the RPG. What do you guys think about? You remember that Pokemon game where it's like it's a fighting Pokemon game where you take control of a Pokemon and you Pokken, right? Imagine a Pokemon game where it's like that plus a main like title game, like they make Gen 9, but they also make it RPG and open combat like that,
like an action
actual
RPG.
With those
where like
graphics?
everything you get in the not even with the graphics. It's just like the combat basis,
Oh,
like
yeah,
the
yeah,
combat
that'd be
is
pretty
like
cool.
that, right? Where you have the Pokken type fighting style in every single encounter, where maybe you could be level 10 Pokemon, and because you're being too cocky, a level 5 Pokemon can really mess you up because you're like, oh, I'm just going to do this or I'm just going to do that. And you basically become, what was it? You become too arrogant and too cocky, and the Pokemon defeats you, and you're like, well, damn it. I'm just going to take it on the chin and just redo it again.
Okay, so
you know, it's just me
I like the
implementing it.
idea, but you know, at the end of the day, these games are geared towards kids, so
Right.
they
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
would never do that.
I would say like like Final Fantasy can pull that off
Right,
over
yeah.
the years. They evolved from turn based into action turn based, but I mean, you know, I think that's what spin-offs are made for. You know, you make a spin-off game, so if the idea sticks, the idea sticks. I mean, one of my favorite Pokemon games I actually remembered was Pokemon Ranger.
I
At least the
love
first one. I had a
Pokemon
lot of
Ranger.
fun
I
with
got
that
the
game.
Manaphy out of that
Yeah.
one too.
Dude.
That was a surprisingly fun
Yeah.
game. I never gave Pokken a try though.
There's a demo you can download
But
and play.
as far as like, I'm pretty sure I'll pick it up at some point whenever it goes on
it's gone
sale.
$20
As far as my
sale
take on
every single time it's been on sale, so you'll pick it up for $40.
nice.
Hey, Kenny, I'm sorry to interrupt, but Kenny, remind me, was it Gen 6 that introduced that there was like this Pokemon war that was going on, and it really like it was pretty violent, it was pretty like bad. They never showed it outright. They just said there were like it was part of the background. Like, hey,
Oh
this
yeah,
is
that
what
was in
happened.
All I know is
in
that Surge
Pokemon
mentions
X
that.
and Y. It was a 3,000-year
Right.
war.
So I was when I heard about them, I'm like, yo, that's kind of dark for a Pokemon
Yeah.
game, like for a Pokemon series. Like that's kind of
Shit, have you seen the manga?
well, the manga's different. And it's awesome.
Yeah, it's a different continuity.
It's a different universe, but it is awesome. Anyone who does not read the Pokemon manga, please support it. Please look at it, because holy crap, is it super real? It's super like in your face and super like, oh, it's so good. But
But I don't want to watch it. It's depressing.
But what I'm saying is that 3,000-year war, that was pretty serious and super like you could see that happening in what do you call that, in a Pokemon world, but because Pokemon has been known as to be super friendly, super nice, super wholesome. Something like that about that war in Gen 6. I'm like, well, if they push the lore to be that dark, I wonder how if they're gonna redo it again in somewhere else, But that's just me being me, hoping to see a little bit more realistic approach when it comes to the world, when it comes to philosophies. Because Gen 6 had and was pretty well with his antagonist, giving you pretty philosophical statements like, hey, it's not like Gen 3 antagonists were like, hey, we just want to flood the world, or we just want to get rid of all water in the world. That was like kind of dumb. But,
yeah, that one was kind of dumb.
Stuff like that was pretty good.
We're talking about N, right?
No, we're talking about like Pokemon Emerald or Ruby and Sapphire.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh,
yeah, the villains are just being
no. I was
for dumb reasons.
Yeah.
Not like they're not
yeah.
philosophically rooted in their like they have points of views where like, yeah, I could see where this makes sense, but is it correct? Is it morally correct? Not like we're in Gen.
Can you sympathize with these idiots?
Right.
I mean, N was more of a believable character.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, I like N as a character because it makes kind of sense. Like, I like that they took a risk and they actually addressed like, is making Pokemon fight the right thing to do?
Yeah, so like much like how we talked about Wind Waker, it's one of the few games, or actually I think it's the only game where Ganondorf actually speaks the most in any other Legend of Zelda game, and you could see where he stands. Just to give you guys a refresher, he says that, hey, I am a king of a cursed nation where the days, the sun constantly burns our crops, burns everything down, and at the nights, this blistering cold winds destroy everything, and he invaded Hyrule in order to save his people. Stuff like that, you can sort of empathize.
Yeah.
Does that imply that... Okay, wait. Hold up a question. Does that imply that that's the same Ganondorf from Ocarina of Time? Okay, because I could add to that because they implied that Ganon met the King of Hyrule trying to build relations and stuff, but like Zelda peeking through the windows like, nah, I think this dude's a bad guy. Don't trust him and shit. And then that's when like Link goes back in time. He's like, yo, he fucked up everything. Yeah, go arrest that motherfucker.
Just because a villain is bad just for the sake of being bad is just like a kind of writing.
Yeah, it is.
Which is why I like and I'll bring it up over and over and over again to anyone who talks about with me when it comes to manga. When it comes to also Berserk, the antagonist that is Griffith is so properly written and he's so damn relatable, even though what he did was immoral, very immoral. Not giving out any spoilers here. You can sympathize with their philosophy and why they did the things they do.
Right.
Stuff like that where you can understand their train of thought, their logic. It's actually quite fantastic. That's why
It makes it very interesting because as a person who's consuming the literature or the media, you could maybe not agree with them or maybe the methods, but you could understand why they would resort to something like that. Like a good example is like in Shadowbringers. I won't go into super detail because it's Final Fantasy 14, but the main villain makes a good argument where he's like, what makes you think you're willing to live while my people die when I could bring back my people and you could die? You know what I'm saying? Like, you could kind of get it, like, hey, dude, that's not fucking fair. But at the same time, though, if you were this guy's shoes and you've seen his people die over and over and over again, you could understand why he would be, like, nonchalant and be like, well, why do you people deserve to live and my people have to die?
Right.
If I could bring them back.
That's why I like Gen 6 so much because I'm pretty sure if you're a kid and you play Gen 6 and you will just enjoy the story, but if you come back to it when you're a little bit more mentally developed and you're like, dang, I could see why this game now is, like, it's a whole lot different now since I understand the logic behind it, the methods in the madness about it, and it's something that really makes you want to revisit a game and understand it even more so, which is why I prefer Gen 4 as I got older compared to Gen 3, 2, and 1 that came before it. Because obviously with Gen 4, Cyrus wanted to create a perfect world. Why? We don't know his backstory so much because it doesn't really go into it. He just wanted to do it just to do it.
And they never develop it.
They never develop it. So that's why I think in Gen 6, they did it so well. That's why I like Sword and Shield's story. Where the what was it? Much like how in Gen 4 where Cynthia, who is the Pokemon champion, is involved in your journey. So is in Gen 8?
Yeah,
was it?
but Gen 8,
Gen 8,
the issue with Gen 8 is a lot of hand holding and a lot of storytelling, but not actually showing you what's going on.
That is true.
It's just telling and not
so like
showing
there was like
anything
this
at all.
big berserker that Gigantamax, Dynamax, and it was creating like some uproar, and everybody's sitting there looking all crazy and stuff, and you go to run through the tunnel, and next thing you know, it says, "Oh no, Leon already defeated the berserker." Don't worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, then why
Right.
even
Like, he
why
didn't
even
even see the fight?
No. Why even give me
What the
give me the
fuck?
option to go through that door and then get told that I'm not going to be able to fight this Dynamax Pokemon? Like, there was no reason for me to even be
That's
there.
lame.
You know what I mean? It's like,
I think it's just missed opportunity to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's.
I think it was lazy storytelling. They didn't want to make
Animate a
no,
cutscene?
not animate a cutscene, but animate a Pokemon Dynamax walking around.
Well, let's not forget this is the kids' game, so yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you could be lazy
Right.
either.
Obviously not. But again, right. This is a kids' game. It's not meant to
Yeah.
be like, oh wow,
So-
you know, don't read too much into the details about it. It's just it's whatever.
So on the topic of Pokemon, I was reading up just now. Apparently, everybody that saw the Legends Arceus trailer immediately went to Reddit and Twitter for a Switch Pro because a lot of people are feeling that Switch Pro is what's needed for the next gen Pokemon games, and people are feeling like the Nintendo Switch is holding back Legends Arceus. How do you guys feel on that?
Well, right. So let me add on to this real quick before. I just need to really say this: that first and foremost, the Nintendo Direct did really bad at making me hype for what's coming out this year and next year. But the Pokemon one did an absolute phenomenally good job.
Yeah.
At making me hype about Nintendo games, specifically Pokemon games. However, the only thing that came out of the Nintendo Direct was Skyward Sword HD, which honestly that was the only part that I really got excited about. The Smash reveal character, it's whatever. So everyone was expecting to see, you know, maybe a little tease for the Switch, a new Switch Pro, a new Switch model where it's a much more powerful Switch variant. Still portable,
Right.
still a great console for home gaming. And able to run more things, you're able to, the game's able to process more, the console's able to process more things in the game. I did see what you were talking about, Kenny, where people are complaining about, hey, maybe you want to have a stronger system about that. But honestly, when it comes to Nintendo, I don't know what they're thinking. I really don't know what their PR department.
Yeah, so analysts in Tokyo are like this guy Serikin Toto. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name.
That's racist.
I think Switch Pro will be coming in the second half of 2021. In my honest opinion, I think that's going to happen because apparently a lot of people were noticing the frame drops from the trailer.
Yeah, it was really
Legends
rough.
Arceus.
Really rough.
Yeah,
and
that was true.
And people are worried that, you know, the Switch isn't powerful enough. I mean, granted, the game looks like it's running on Unreal Engine.
They finally hired
I'm
the
just
guy.
saying, it looks like it's running on Unreal Engine, kind of like how Breath of the Wild struggled to stay at 30 frames. Because at points in the game, if it was raining or you're in the wrong spot, you'll get frame drops.
Or a bunch of explosions happen.
Like when you're out in the jungles or flames.
I mean,
flames destroy the frame rate for Breath of the Wild.
I mean, the way I look at it is like Nintendo they've never been known to be like super technical or like really graphical. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not trying to push like
no, and I get that.
You know what I'm saying?
But they also told some developers to start getting their games 4K capable because they plan on coming out with something in the future.
Right.
They have to, but if they're saying something like that,
I think this year's a good year for it. I mean, aside from the
maybe
the
even
cell shortages with
Right.
other stuff, I think this year might be a really good year for the Switch to come out with a refresh.
I think if the Switch Pro were to come out, maybe next year and make Legends Arceus a launch title to go with it, you know?
Yeah.
but not an
Not
exclusive.
much like with the PS5 with Miles Morales, you know?
Okay. All right, so I'm okay with that. I hope I hate to be the asshole and be like, well, this is Game Freak. They're not gonna optimize this game. I'm hoping that the game just needs a lot of optimization work because the frame rate looked really rough, especially when Dawn was like crawling around in the grass and when the camera was pulled back and they were doing like all that spinning and shit. It did look like pretty rough, but I'm gonna only assume that because the game is a pretty far ways out, I'm assuming that they will fix it. But we'll have to wait and see. I think that it's not going to be unplayable on the original Switch, but I think that you can make the case and argument, say like, well, hey, this might be a good time to show off, like, hey, this game could run on the Switch, and especially now that we got that state of play that happened not that long ago. I know a lot of people kind of slept through it. They announced Final Fantasy VII Remake is coming to PlayStation 5, and they showed off performance mode, graphics, and things like that. I think that could be a good argument to say like, hey, with this game you could make it run better and look nicer and things like that.
You guys, oh my god, did you guys see the Pokemon Post Malone concert?
Oh yeah!
Hell yeah, dude!
Hell yeah! February 11th. He is. I like his music. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, even as a person, he's such a nice dude.
Yeah.
He's a cool dude.
He's done a couple collaborations with some tech YouTubers to make his computer.
I remember the PUBG, the PUBG PC he wanted to make.
And then Nintendo, I guess, Pokemon tweeted out the year is 2007. This was 8 minutes ago. You're deciding between Turtwig, Chimchar, and Piplup. You play through Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, digging up fossils in the underground. Next up, trading in the GTS with your new friend across the continent. Life is good. Hashtag Pokemon Day. Because today is Pokemon Day. Today is...
The time of recording this episode, we are officially on Pokemon. So if you're wondering why Pokemon is the majority focus, we're just really excited for Pokemon.
We're nerds.
Yeah, we're nerds. We still get picked on for liking Pokemon.
2 hours ago, the year is 2003.
By other children.
2 hours ago, the year is 2003.
Yeah.
The Hoenn horns greet you. Oh my god, the horns! As you boot up your game, you're picking out the perfect spot for your secret base. You can't wait to decorate it. Life is good. Hashtag Pokemon Day. And then Pokemon tweeted back at itself saying, Hoenn horns go brr.
That was one thing about the horns and trumpets about... I love this so much about Gen 3.
And then here, 3 hours ago, the year is 2000. You watch episodes of Pokemon, the Johto Journeys, every Saturday morning on Kids WB. You're playing Pokemon Gold, and your best friend's playing Pokemon Silver. You're both about to battle Ho-Oh and Lugia for the first time. Life is good. Hashtag Pokemon Day. And then here's is this the first one? Oh. That's cool. 5 hours ago, the battle that started it all. And it's the battle against Nidoran and Gengar.
Yeah. Yeah, at the very beginning of Gen 1. I remember that. Well, other than... these two games. Are you guys interested in, what was it, Pokemon Cafe or Snap or
Snap?
I am
touched
excited
Cafe.
for
Snap.
I never played that Pokemon Masters game. I could never get into a fucking gacha game. I've yet to no one tells me what the fuck you do in these games. I don't get them. Like, okay, with Pokemon, I get it. It's
Snap
it's
so
Pokemon.
Good. They look so
pretty.
good.
They really do. I was kind of worried they didn't mention any. I was gonna say they didn't put any like Twitter integration, but then I remember like, oh yeah, you could just use the in system Twitter
Come on, get it out.
system.
Get it out, man.
I just thought
the built-in
I have a
Twitter
feature in the Switch itself. I thought that was kind of weird that they didn't mention that, like because with social media being a thing. But then I remember like, well, the primary demographic is children, and they don't want to openly advertise like social media.
So this day in 1999, you walk into the cafeteria, pull out your Game Boy, and start playing Pokemon Yellow Special Pikachu Edition. Across the table, your friends are trading Pokemon cards. You're going to see Pokemon, the first movie, on Saturday. Life is good.
You guys want me to piss off everyone? I'm gonna say something that's gonna piss everybody off. I to this day have yet to see the first Pokemon.
You know
movie.
what?
I'm dead
see
serious.
The bridge? No. Marcos.
Yeah.
How is that fine? Of course.
Wait, have you seen it?
That movie.
Marcos, you haven't seen it either?
What? Both of you haven't seen the first movie?
Hey,
I thought you guys were my friends.
Man, what the hell?
I've seen it. No. I'm about to one up Daniel. I've seen it. I think it's overrated.
Oh no! We're officially canceled. We're fucked.
All right. So
Boycott
any
Marcos.
followers
God
that we have
damn it,
are
Marcos,
probably
I knew
gonna
you'll be
follow
the
us after that comment right there.
Okay.
Yeah,
Allow me.
oh my
allow
God.
me. Allow me to
Go ahead.
say why. This is my main contention about this. My main problem with it. Mewtwo, great. I loved his character. Amazing. I love that. Hey, I could see back to what we were talking about, where you can empathize with the antagonist because he's not being bad just for being bad. He has a philosophy behind his actions, and Mewtwo had it because he thought, hey, humans are mistreating Pokemon because he was being mistreated. He was being tortured. He was being experimented on, and he got this negative view on humans and all that. I understand that completely. Completely.
And then he faked the murder in Detective Pikachu.
Right. But all I'm saying is that, hey, I can completely understand why he is like this. And then at the end of the movie, right, where spoiler alert, where he turns Ash into, well, stone, right? And everyone's out of I can understand why Pikachu's crying. I can understand why Ash's other Pokemon are crying. Why are the other Pokemon crying?
Because
I don't understand.
Okay. So you know how children.
Let me continue.
You know how when children cry, if another child sees another child crying, they'll cry just out of reaction. They'll cry because they're seeing the other person cry. That's what the other Pokemon. Well,
maybe for toddlers. Maybe for toddlers, maybe not actual children, but toddlers, yeah. But okay, so they all start crying. Then because they're all crying, Mewtwo and Mew stop fighting, and they look down, and Mewtwo's like, damn, I'm the bad guy. Well, let me undo this. And then Ash, you legit dying, and all these Pokemon crying for no reason.
Well, no, the tears
made me realize I'm the bad guy, and I'm gonna go off in a distant island to not bother anyone else. I'm like, was this really your cop out? Was this really that you got? Well, in the anime community, he got talk no jutsu, which is basically where in Naruto can be like, hey man, you're the bad guy. Have you considered not being the bad guy? And the bad guy's like, oh, dang. I'm never going to be that way. Yeah, man, I'll stop. And then that's basically what happened. And when I was a kid, I loved the movie. When I got older, I'm looking at it and I'm like,
you're not letting the nostalgia blind you.
Which is why I appreciate the Entei movie a lot more and the Manaphy movie a lot more.
Yeah, the movie where Entei's my fucking dad. Hell yeah, dude. That was a trip.
Way
that was
better.
a good movie.
Way better, especially the Manaphy movie. That movie was, oh my god, dude.
I like the
I think
Latias
I've only seen that movie once.
Those were good.
Oh, Heroes, dude. I fucking balled like a bitch when I saw that movie when I was a kid.
Ash kissed
Heroes.
Kissed a Pokemon.
Dude, but all I'm saying is, look,
Jaden fucked the Yu-Gi-Oh monster. What the fuck, dude?
Look, all I'm saying is when I
yeah, do you wonder why they never dubbed that season of Yu-Gi-Oh GX?
Wow, yeah, you're right. But look,
he has a waifu, my guy. Like, what the fuck?
This is me going into Gen 4 again because I'm a hoe for Gen 4. The Manaphy movie, the music, the characters, the art, everything about it was so much better than the first movie. This is why, like, Daniel, you were correct. I didn't let nostalgia blind me, which I'll still enjoy the first Pokemon movie, but I can criticize it because I think, like, hey, it started off great. The middle point was great. The ending was, it was whatever, you know. But I can still enjoy the movie. I'll still enjoy it now. I just think that, hey, you should like take off on the nostalgia glasses and just critically look at this video. I mean, at this movie. It's ending. It should have had a way better ending. Maybe not involving Ash dying, but it's still a good movie. So like.
At least, you know what? I could safely say I haven't seen the awkward 3D CGI Netflix version that they made.
Wait, what?
You guys remember that? Yeah, a lot of people forgot that existed. There was a Pokemon
wait.
remake of the first movie on Netflix that was like all CGI. It was called like Mewtwo Strikes Again or something, which made me think that it was like, oh, it's a sequel. But let me see, Mewtwo Strikes Back.
Oh, what the?
Yeah.
Wait, what is this?
What kind of Unreal Engine shit is this?
Upgraded robot chicken type of freaking graphics here. Wait a minute.
This is what the RTX meme led up to.
Wait, you're not trolling.
Oh, wasn't
this is what you wanted, right? This is your Switch Pro.
This ugly disaster of a movie. Oh my god, I remember this.
Wait a minute.
Dude, this is so bad.
Wait a minute.
So bad.
Wait a minute.
Hang on,
Oh my god. What?
Marcos.
Wait a minute.
Marcos.
Wait a minute.
There,
What?
There you go.
I'm
There
looking
you
at it. I'm looking at it.
go.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
This is the RTX meme is final
Wait a minute.
level.
Wait a minute. Wait. I'm about to have a stroke. I swear. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
You need to let them process. I get you, man.
They should have never done it.
I will say no. I will say graphically it looks nice. Like holy crap. Like the lighting is super good when they're outside. I don't mind that. That. But Mewtwo Strikes Back. There's some shots of Ash that he looks like a monkey.
A monkey.
He looked like a Mankey.
Oh, Mankey! He's a Pokemon.
I knew it the whole time.
You got me with a pun, dude. Wait a.
I mean, it all makes sense though. Remember, wasn't that the first Pokemon he caught? No, it was a Caterpie. It was a Caterpie. Wait, wasn't there a Mankey? Did he have a Mankey?
Yeah, he had a Mankey.
Like, you fucked with him and shit.
Mankey. I will say though, like when it comes to.
As far as Pokemon, I'm sorry. As far as like Pokemon movies, yeah. So I didn't grow up watching the first movie. I did see the 2000 movie. The funny thing was though, I grew up watching the Spanish dub of it, and hearing Slowbro speak it's Slowpoke. It's Slowpoke, right?
Yeah,
the Slowking. There you go.
2000.
It's sorry, my Pokemon is. Yeah, like that. I like the look of the movie. I really like how the villain's whole fucking thing had like. Fucking Leonardo da Vinci ass fucking art going on in the ceiling, but I kind of dig it, and I thought the scale of it was kind of cool. Where, like Ash has to like go around to all these islands
like
and
Battle
shit,
Royale,
trying to put
man.
like
you got to collect the tokens.
Yeah, it's like that's pretty cool. I dig it. But yeah, I saw Pokemon 3000, and was that the first time they showed Gen 3 Pokemon? I mean Gen 2 Pokemon.
Movie?
Well, about the movies, sometimes they will introduce Pokemon for the next gen in their movies. Yeah. It's a common trope. Yeah. So it's not that surprising where people like we said earlier in our recording, where people confuse Lucario being a Gen 3 Pokemon.
Are we just gonna ignore the fact that the Deoxys movie had a Munchlax before Munchlax was even like
or like when Sudowoodo was in.
Honestly, Munchlax, one of the best Pokemon ever in the anime series because of the tenacity, the bravery, the I don't care attitude he had. This man, this
the movie he evolved into a Snorlax and saved everybody's life.
He radiated.
All he did was eat.
That's
all he did during the entire movie was eat, and then just like, oh, I'm gonna evolve into Snorlax.
And then fall asleep. Hey, man, dude, that's called the Munchie cycle. That's it.
I would not be upset if they change Munchlax's evolution requirement to be where, hey, he's got to be a specific level, and you got to start feeding him.
Are we going to ignore the fact that Unknown are considered legendary Pokemon in the anime?
I
thought they were considered. Well, actually, no, you're right. Shoot.
I mean, well, yeah, that's a question. Yeah, like, can a legendary series, like grouping exist if there's multiple of the same Pokemon? Well, even though there's
that's why at least when it comes to the Pokemon game meta, they're called Ubers because their stats, overall average stats, reach a specific number. Like hey, if your stats reach this threshold,
like 400 or 500, I think, as the base stats.
Something like that.
I barely remember Pokemon Forever.
That was such a good movie. I remember
Heroes. I remember
Pokemon
loving.
Forever?
I remember Heroes' look. Was that the one where the city? Yeah. Oh my god! And Ash was like riding around this surf path. I remember. I just like the upgraded. You know when you could tell when a movie gets a higher budget and stuff to get like really expressive and shit. That's what I dig about the Pokemon movies because you really get a sense of scale and wait for the Pokemon when they start moving around and shit. And I like the aesthetic of the Pokemon. Are the Pokemon movies not canon?
You look at the Sinnoh region, like what they're doing with Legends Arceus, and you look at Pokemon Forever. When Ash goes back in time and meets Sam with the old ball, like that's essentially the same concept in the new Pokemon games that are coming out, or the new Pokemon game that's coming out in 2022.
You know which Pokemon movie really messed me up?
Which one?
When I was a kid, because I stopped watching Pokemon movies after this, but the Reshiram and Zekrom movie where it's the exact same freaking movie
except it's just a different legendary.
Yeah, and then when I first watched it, I'm like, oh, cool. That's weird that they made Zekrom the bad guy. Oh, whatever. And then I go back to it when it was randomly on Cartoon Network once again, and I'm like, wait, Reshiram's the bad guy? Wait, what?
Zekrom.
What's happening?
Oh, him.
What's happening?
Okay, yeah, that was
black and white. And I'm like, wait. Who's the bad guy now? And it wasn't until like a month later, I'm like, oh, oh, it's the same movie, but they were just showing different aspects because of the whole yin and yang thing that the Pokemon Black and White was going for. And I'm like, all right, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, that's something I didn't like about the main games was the fact that they came out with sequels rather than a third game.
Well, I mean, Ultra
After
Moon
5.
and Ultra Sun was actually a good sequel. Like, wow, it was really, really nice.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if you ever played
I
it.
didn't play Ultra Moon or Ultra Sun. I played the original Sun and Moon, but
my touch with Pokemon was because I was about to ask you guys because I think we're just gonna safely say that this episode is entirely focused on Pokemon, which is fine. Okay, so what was your first Pokemon game?
Generation 3, Leaf Green,
and what
Fire
year?
Red, so 2004.
So wait, so Gen 3 was your first gen? Okay, so mine was, I still vividly remembered it. It was, okay, so it was right before Hurricane Katrina was about to hit. Some kid in my cousin's neighborhood said, hey guys, look, we're going to get hit by a big storm right now. We're going to be out of power for a bit. I'm going to lend you guys some games to keep you distracted. So he gave my cousin Pokemon Ruby, and I got Fire Red. So my first Pokemon game was Fire Red. That was my first ever exposure to the Pokemon series. Afterwards, I did get Gen 3, and that was like my main game.
Same
like
with
that
me.
was the game I split
Same
the
with me.
most amount of time into. I got the strategy guides. I was like all over that game, right? And then later I tipped off at Gen 4. Like that's what I said earlier in the podcast, was like most people, they pick a particular gen that they get really, really into. Most people kind of peter off after Gen 2. Especially if you grew up playing Gen 1, you're like, oh my God, Gen 2. And then Gen 2 like is this massive game follow-up that's like, oh man, all right, I'm going to tap out from here. Gen 4 was that game for me. I stopped at Gen 4 when that game was still new. I got back into Pokemon. I did play a little bit of Black and White when it was still in Japan, because that was still when back then Pokemon games weren't released simultaneously.
It wasn't until
America
Generation 6 where they did worldwide releases.
Which is crazy considering how popular Pokemon was by that point. Like, you think that they would do that, but whatever. So that's when I stopped at Gen 4. I did like experiment a little bit with Black and White, but I remember not liking it. Maybe because I was just like impatient or something. And that was it. That's when I kind of capped off a bit. I got back into Pokemon with X and Y because there was a promotion where if you bought a 3DS XL, you would get X and Y for free. So I was like, oh, then let me get back into it. And I played the shit out of it. I have no memory of it aside from having a Lucario and the fucking Z moves and shit. I stopped there, and this is probably gonna piss everyone off. I got all the way up to Mewtwo,
Never touched
saved the game, and never touched it again.
Nice, dude.
Right there. And so years later, my sister's like, "Oh, let me see your Pokemon game." I'm like, all right, cool. And she loads up the save file. You just see Mewtwo like, the fuck are you doing? Like, do something.
That's funny.
It's just like, hey man. But yeah, that's my thing with Pokemon. I did eventually pick up Let's Go. I'm gonna be completely honest. It's a bit of a snore fest because the game is like way too easy.
That's the issue with
I get
games. So after Generation 5, so
I'm not against it. I think Let's Go served the purpose.
But after
but
Generation
fuck me,
5,
dude.
the hard
EXP share.
hard factor, like just it being hard, it went away.
Because they gave out Team EXP share.
Yeah, I remember Gen 1 being difficult and Gen 3 being difficult, especially the first gen battles.
So Gen 4, there was an item called EXP share, right? So
Only
one
worked on
Pokemon would get... Yeah, it only worked on one Pokemon.
Yeah, but then it also exists for Gen 3,
it
though.
was
I
in Gen
remember
3.
using it for Gen 3.
Yeah, but I was gonna add on. After that gen, it became... I think it was starting at Gen 5. No, maybe it was Gen 6. Where it... Gen 6, then my bad. Gen 6. It became EXP share for the whole team. And not just that, Sword and Shield gave it to you where it's like, hey,
it's permanent.
Instead of splitting, no, it's not even permanent. Instead of your team getting half the EXP that you earned, it's the complete entire EXP. So if a Pokemon battle gave you 1,000 EXP, instead of dividing it 500 between everyone who got the EXP, it gave you 1,000 to every Pokemon. And I was like,
so if you look at the older games like Emerald and Ruby and Sapphire, when you get the EXP share, the Pokemon that fights gets, I think, like 25% of the XP, and then 75% of it goes to the other Pokemon that you have the XP share on. Yeah,
What the fuck?
because you're trying to level up that Pokemon, not the one that you're using.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. Okay, I get what you
so
mean. Yeah. Mainly for the
I
magic
forgot to
card.
mention. So I can't remember. The first Pokemon game I ever owned was Diamond, but the first Pokemon game I ever played was but it wasn't mine. It was Gen 3.
Was
I
it
think
mine?
it was either Ruby or Emerald. No, it was my cousin's.
Oh.
I can't remember what he had. I think it was either Ruby or Emerald that I played, and then obviously with Kenny I played some. But
Yeah, I remember when you got Diamond,
it's-
I was like, I'm gonna get Pro, and you were like, man, Diamond's so much better because you get Dialga. And
it
I
is,
was
dude.
like,
Dialga stat wise.
yeah, I know.
Yeah, way
I
better.
know now, but back then, like, you were like, Dialga's better, and I'm like, no, Palkia's better.
You gotta listen to me now.
Wait, so I
And
know
you're
Dialga's
like-
the god of time. What is
Yeah,
Palkia?
God of
Space?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you're like,
Nice. That's some
you're like,
JoJo
And
well,
then,
he looks like a
Gary
penis, and
Tina's
I'm
like-
like Dialga's head looked like a penis.
Mhm.
Yeah.
A lot of penis jokes. We were.
I will say though that
I would say you were immature.
I will say though that the Dialga wait hold up. Garantina, it was also I forgot what he controlled. Was it antimatter? I think it was antimatter, right?
Who, Garantina?
Yeah, what was he the controller of?
He was the controller of the distortion world.
Right. But I think people were talking about antimatter, different
Essentially,
dimensions, different
Yeah,
world,
it was a different world. It was
stuff
a
like that.
different dimension. He was in charge of.
Okay. So I just think that
It's
with Gen
essentially
4,
hell.
I guess I was
So like you have Arceus who has control over everything like God, and then you have Garantino who's like Satan.
I guess. I mean, he wasn't really the bad guy, but he was just like, "Hey, I'm gonna do my thing." In Platinum, he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do my
Yeah,
thing."
but in Platinum, I mean, he was summoned. It wasn't like you know he just came out of nowhere. Oh, I'm gonna snatch up these people, and we're all gonna go into the distortion world. It was like, nah, Cyrus fucked up, so I gotta pull him in here, and then, you know,
Yeah, because there was imbalance. He was basically the guy's like, "Hey, I'm gonna bring balance because I hate y'all."
yeah, exactly.
I just like Rayquaza because his whole job was to like Groudon and choreograph, and he's like Rayquaza just be like, "Hey,
Yeah.
cut that shit out." Okay.
And not only that, he goes like, "Hey, wait. This rock is coming into my Earth,
Oh,
and there's a Pokemon inside. Deoxys. Wait a minute. I'm gonna beat the hell out of you, kid.
That ain't
I'm gonna
happening.
beat the hell out of you. This is my place.
that was in the
It's my
Delta
dojo."
episode. That was in the Delta episode.
Well, even in the
original one.
even lore wise,
yeah.
like even in movies and the shows.
Yeah, but there's supposed to be multiple Rayquazas.
So yeah, so your first game,
yes,
what?
there's multiple Rayquazas.
There's
I don't know about that.
What?
Crap.
There's multiple.
How does that work?
Rayquazas.
I don't know about that.
what do you mean? Like, do they make new ones, or are there
There's
multiple
supposed to
ones
be, like,
alive?
multiple ones alive.
Mm.
Yes, because
At
there
the
was
same
also
time.
a shiny Rayquaza alive at the same time as the original Rayquaza from the movies.
Okay.
And he's black.
Yeah, he
So
might be
that
black,
makes-
but he's still Rayquaza.
Okay, wait,
I mean, he camouflages well in the night, giving him the tactical advantage.
But there's multiple Rayquazas. It's a big theory too.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
wait, that's a good question. Wait, hold up. I'm assuming that the legendaries are somewhat immortal. You know, they can faint and shit, but I mean, like, because they don't
Well,
reproduce.
there's
They have a
actually-
special role.
There's multiple Latios and Latios as well.
Is that a theory or is that
No,
lore
but not
that's
at the
lore
same time.
friendly.
Okay. I do know that
Huh.
one of the few legendaries that can reproduce, kind of, is Manaphy, which with the
Yeah,
Ditto
with
creates a Fion. But that's really all I know about that.
Okay.
It's weird.
So, all right. So your first game you ever owned was
Yeah,
Gen
it
4.
was quite nice. It was that's why.
Okay. Yeah, so Gen 3 definitely was my game, and I did remember growing up playing Pokemon
but Gen 3 is
Coliseum and
such
a
a
little bit of
good-
Gale
Yeah,
of Darkness.
there's
Holy
multiples
crap, it
of
was
every single
I like
legendary
Gen 3 a lot.
in the game, like in the animes,
But it's so optimized. That's what
Okay.
I liked it, dude. Everything. So
and it's
okay,
all lore
Let me make a
friendly.
comparison. So, Mario Party 1, Kanto region, right? Pokemon Red and Blue and Yellow, right? The game was great. It introduced you to a nice game, right? Pokemon Heart Gold and Crystal, not Heart Gold, Silver, Gold, and Crystal was much like Mario Party 2, where it added on to even more so than the original game, but it was a nice upgrade, real nice upgrade. But then
Mario Party 2 had Mario with a cowboy hat, so technically speaking, that is the best game ever.
Hold on. Mario Party 3 really optimized Mario Party. Obviously, the mini games in Mario Party 2 and 3, a lot of people are discussing about it, but when it comes to the maps, when it comes to even the story, everything,
the boards,
it's just so much optimized. A lot of love went into Mario Party 3. Same thing with Gen 3 games. This is me making comparisons for the audience who, if you want to make want to see where I make my comparisons when it comes to these games. Gen 3 really did an amazing job of optimizing the previous games, and obviously can't forget the horns, the trumpets. I love the soundtrack of that game. It's so nice. But it honestly added on to the game that it just really did really well, Gen 3, and it added color, so much color. But it was nice. It was quite nice of a game. So that's why I think that Gen 3 was a really good first game for a lot of people, because it really showed you what Pokemon can be. Now, if you first got into Pokemon with Gen 6 and you went back to Gen 1 or 2, the original Gen 1 and 2, you might get thrown back a bit because you're not used to that retro type of game that really...
yeah, but it's also a harder game. And you know what?
Harder.
I don't understand. In Black and White, after you beat the game, you have a challenge mode. Why don't they bring that back?
Well, I think it's more about your client base. Like
I get
obviously
it,
you want to bring,
but I get it's for kids, but yeah,
you said
they
challenge
have
mode,
a hard
like it's
mode
like a
for
hard mode?
Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only game that introduced it.
I think you want to look at this as many businesses do when they've been out for a while, where how can we keep our original client base while adding on to new players, new people to come in. So I guess that's why they make easier games, that they say, hey, sure, we'll do an EXP share for the whole team. It makes casual players more comfortable coming in.
And that's why I felt like Let's Go had a purpose to exist. And at the time, like when it was like the only Pokemon game, a lot of people were not super
because it's uber
it.
casual.
Why,
I mean, there's not There's no
which I can appreciate it.
Yeah.
Look, obviously, Kenny, you and I played obviously Gen 1, the original Gen 1. Then we also played the remakes, the first remakes of.
Yeah, and Gen 1 original is a broken mess.
I like the pacing too, because you didn't have to go to a set gym. You can go to separate gyms, separate areas. You can activate different events in different areas. Like, you don't have to specifically go to Gym 1, Gym 2, Gym 3. No, you can go to Gym 2, Gym 3, you go back to 2, go to 4, skip 5, do 6, and you could just keep on going. It wasn't a linear game. Gen 1 was amazing, and that's why I like watching these speedruns. People speedrun the game because honestly, it's awesome. But yeah, it's seeing Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee doesn't really bother me too much. I understand why they did it that way, but honestly, it's more about bringing in new clientele while making the Gen 1, the Kanto region, which we all grew up with, much more enjoyable, a nice, pretty sight. And I don't, it's not really my cup of tea, but I can appreciate it.
The original Gen 1, yep, exactly.
Yeah.
I can appreciate it.
But
it's something that,
that's why I always say that I think Let's Go had probably the best.
I don't know
presentation.
about. I mean, I feel like the remake from Generation 3 was probably the best one in my opinion.
Right, and I agree with you too. But I can also appreciate why Let's Go, the Let's Go series, is why they did that.
Yeah.
Why they were trying to get a new audience to come in with the Switch.
Yeah.
It was a nice way to look at Kanto region.
It was a means to an end
to
pretty much soft reboot. Yeah,
get the Let's Go crowd, get the Pokemon, the Pokemon Go crowd, because it made sense. Like, hey, we got all these people hooked on Pokemon Go. They probably want to get into the actual games. Let's make a game for these people. And at the time, I got it, and it was okay. But man, you kind of steamroll the game a little too hard, and it's just like, hey man, like, I know these games are not generally like super difficult, and I get that, but it's like, this is a little bit too much. You know what I'm saying?
It would have been nice. It would have been nice if you had the option to do what they're doing now with Legends Arceus, where you can either catch a Pokemon in Let's Go, Pikachu or Eevee, or to battle the Pokemon, kind of like how you did with the legendaries in the game. But you were restricted to a timer, so you had this much amount of time to battle and catch the Pokemon.
Okay. I think, honestly, there's so much more that Pokemon can do. They can be really innovative in a lot of different ways, experiment different ways, which is why I think Game Freak is focusing more on Arceus, Legends Arceus, instead of the remake, because this is a new, obviously, a new venture, a prequel game.
This is new ground they're going to. This is like a complete shake-up, you know?
The same old song and dance, and I don't blame them.
Maybe, I'm not sure, but it's only a limit to how much more, like, how much new Pokemon names you can make, moves, items that still won't break the game, and so on and so forth.
No, we're talking about a gameplay drastic change.
Like overall, like I feel like the wild areas were kind of like a precursor to this new Legends Arceus game.
Because those were open world-esque.
And you know what the funny thing is, you could even tell that this is such a drastic change, because I don't think a lot of people noticed this. I don't know if you guys knew this, but the Pokemon logo has a very strict rule set as far as like graphic design go. Like there's a cheat sheet of it where it's like, okay, the logo always has to be in yellow. You could put a slight glow around it. It can't be in different colors. You can't cover the logo whatsoever. But when you look up Pokemon Legends, it's a completely different color. It has so it's like telling the audience, like, look, we're doing something really different.
I can appreciate that though.
Not only that, but look what they're calling the game: Pokemon Legends then Arceus. Which, when I first watched the trailer and after watching it, I was like, are they gonna add a Pokemon Legends series in general? They made Arceus the first one because obviously one, it matches with the Sinnoh perfectly, and two because of the Sinnoh remakes, and two.
Did you hear about the starters that you're gonna be able to get?
Creator. The what?
The starters that you're gonna get in the game?
Yeah. I was gonna add on
really
to that.
weird.
I was gonna add on to that. So Arceus being the creator Pokemon, the creator of the universe Pokemon, right? So this is the first one, the first Pokemon, which then the Legend series can continue. You can make a next sequel about, hey, maybe instead of Arceus, we're gonna make creating the whole universe and everything. We're gonna be things more localized. Where hey, we're gonna make Pokemon Legends, another legendary Pokemon, Pokemon Legends Rayquaza, Pokemon Legends Dialga, Palkia, so on and so forth, right?
Yeah.
Do you think it'll be like a spin-off series where they could build on top of it?
Where they can develop the lore of Pokemon by making a bunch of prequel games where it won't interact negatively with the modern games, with the modern series, and say, hey, this is how the world began to be in this somewhat new area. And then obviously with the starters, it's not all of Gen. There's no Gen 4 starters. There's no Chimchar, Turtwig, or Piplup. There's these Pokemon that exist, which, let me add on to it, these Pokemon from Gen 2, 5, and 7, correct me if I'm wrong, but weren't they involved in the Pokemon War? In some way, somehow?
Think so. I think Typhlosion was, and I think they all were.
Yeah, because I think there was a reason for 2, 5, and 7, because it's a subtle nod to either the Pokemon Wars, which is connected to 2, 5, and 7.
But you know the other reason why the starters are different from the actual Sinnoh region, right? Because you have to discover them first.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Making Sinnoh a melting pot of just the world itself, because obviously it's being discovered and stuff, but hopefully I wonder if this is gonna tie into the Pokemon War issue that we've been talking about earlier, about it being a serious issue. But this is just me speculating. Honestly, it's nice to be thinking about all these mind topics where we can just be like, oh dude, what ifs.
Well, what I want to know is Nobunaga is officially canon in the Pokemon universe, because that's, you know what, because I was thinking about that, like, man, what I feel like that they've tried doing like this ancient feudal Japan style Pokemon game, and then I forgot, there was a game called Pokemon Conquest. I'm like, why did no one ever talk about it? And I remembered, it came out like really, like when the 3DS was still
part
new.
Of the war that was during that 3,000-year war.
That's what I was thinking. Like, was that game any good? Like, I've never heard anybody talk about it.
I think it was a turn-based strategy. So
you mean like
Dungeon?
Pokemon? You mean like Pokemon?
Like Pokemon Dungeon.
No, I was gonna say turn-based strategy.
No, it's more like Fire Emblem.
Yeah.
Okay.
I never heard anybody talk about this game though, but I'm just more interested. Like, so it's Nobunaga, and it's called and the part is it's a spin-off series for the Nobunaga Ambition series. Like, I heard about this series before, but I forgot. Hey, does that count in the Pokemon franchise? It's kind of like with Dynasty Warriors. They tell the same story over and over again, but like, now you got Hyrule Warriors and the Berserk game, and then they did it with I forgot the other one. Oh yeah, they did it with Gundam. There you go.
I'm not sure about that, but that's interesting. I'm just excited about the lore, all the stuff that they could explore with this new prequel game.
So you're most excited because it's like, we're doing a game that sets earlier as far as the Pokemon timeline goes. We could see where like the beginnings of certain things could start from this game.
Basically, so it's a lot of area. It's a nice area. Hopefully they could traverse it rather well and set up a nice precedent for future games, where we can have two separate games. If ILCA, the company who's in charge of developing the remake, does an excellent job, maybe we can see two different developers.
I'm down like Activision with Treyarch and Infinity Ward.
And Sledgehammer.
And now Sledgehammer.
Yeah, but just don't make the same game over and over again.
Now they'll have 2 years of development rather than 1 year, which means a game will benefit from that, benefit from the time, they won't have to crunch. It's like...
If the console will allow it to as well. So hopefully Switch Pro would be ideal.
I'm telling you, Switch Pro is probably going to be coming out next. It's going to be the next big hardware release, and it's going to be sold out everywhere.
Watch them.
So
watch them
remember,
do the
Nintendo fans, before you go to bed every night, get on your knees and pray that the Switch Pro.
Watch them do what they did with Smash characters. We're like, hey, we're releasing the new Smash character today. We're like, wait, what? Excuse me? And then the Switch Pro's like, yeah, we're releasing the Switch Pro today.
In fact, it's right now. Download it. Get it now. We're
releasing the Switch Pro, and next week, get ready. No pre-orders. It's gonna be chaotic.
Battle Royale, bitch.
Just to flex on people.
Where we dropping, boys?
Well, Jibby bought 5 Switches, and he's gonna scalp them. How about we take his scalp for being an idiot, and we leave him with no Switches?
We take Jimmy's kneecaps.
That's what I mean, dude.
We just scalp your kneecaps, Jimmy.
Dude, Nintendo being a great company when it comes to making games, but their PR tactics and it's just so bad. I'm just looking forward to see if they can really, really help with PR. They can really do just something good. Something.
Nope, they don't need to, because people are going to still buy their games no matter what.
I know.
Are you ready to buy the new game in the Pokemon franchise?
I'm going to probably buy the Gen 4 remake and Legends Arceus, without a doubt.
Oh, absolutely. And they'll probably buy Gen 4 remake twice.
Mm-hmm.
Wait. Repeat that?
For Shiny Diamond.
Oh, right.
They're going to buy...
I wonder if they're gonna do what they did with Sword and Shield, where they're like, "Hey, you can buy both games in the bundle."
Yeah, well, they did that. They did that with
that's
Sun
a good
and Moon.
idea.
I did that with Sun and Moon.
Yeah,
I bought both. It was like $80, and they gave you like 100 Pokeballs and like 100 potions as a DLC. Yeah, stonks.
Pay to win. Honestly, I've and although my Pokemon games, I never use any other Pokeball except the OG one. Everything else is just like I don't care. A legendary? Sure, I'll keep spamming the A button. I don't care. I'm gonna catch this legendary
Hey, you guys want to hear a joke? One night, I was playing Fire Red late at night. I was half asleep. I ran into a Moltres. I don't know how. I just found it, and I panicked and I threw a Master Ball at it.
I remember before I even got my 6th gym badge, when you first learned Surf, or in Emerald, I was going across that water there to get to
too much water.
IGN.
Where you have to fly, where you get the HM fly from May. I had a random Latios appear, and then magically it just said no and disappeared. I was like, wait a minute.
Wait, isn't there something like that in Gen 1 where you can, out of freaking nowhere, if you go into the city that you're in, the what's that town that you're in, my bad, in Kanto, where you start off the game? Pallet right?
Yeah.
There is the very small chance that you can catch a Mew there.
Oh, remember, yo, dude. Oh my god, I would love to talk about. We're gonna have to wrap soon, man. The fucking schoolyard rumors, my guy.
Yeah,
Holy
Hey guys,
shit!
I got
Yo, dude, you gotta push this truck, man. Muse under that
I
fucking
got
truck.
Sonic and Melee.
Yo, you see that grass over in Palatown? That's Bill's garden. That shit's the Garden of
actually,
Eden. You know, this
dude,
motherfucker got
I think
everything.
the Mew one was true though, that you can actually catch Mew in Palatown, but it's only a one-time thing. Like the first Pokemon you can encounter, like if it's not a Mew, you can't ever catch Mew again. I could be wrong. This is what I heard, but you can legit catch Mew first. Like I forget what the percentage chance is, but you can do.
And who could forget the timeless classic mashing the buttons and like
dude,
throwing the
I love how
Pokeball?
it does absolutely
I
nothing,
fucking beat
but
the
you're like,
shit.
Let me try.
I went young breezy on them
Let me
fucking
try
buttons,
it.
my guy.
Oh man.
Do you know why I spam the A button? It's not because I thought it did it better, you know, I can catch it better, but because I prepared for the fact that I was going to fail catching him, so I keep pressing A and it'll go immediately to bag, Pokeball, yes, and it throws it. So it's just me being lazy, a lazy little poopy head. I know what you're talking about though. Well, but it's much like when you're playing a racing game and you turn your body to go to match the direction that you're turning in your
I
car
don't do that.
because you're going to turn
I'm not
faster.
a weirdo.
Uh,
Just like
Oh, someone sounds
Just
like someone.
like when
You're one of those
Mario Kart
weirdos that gets no, Kenny. You're one of those weirdos that get hits in the FPS and you go, "Ow."
Oh, so you don't turn the wheel when you're driving, Kenny? You
Yes.
just drive straight in your
Yes.
car?
I'm not gay. I always go straight. I'm sorry.
I drive with a mouse
Wait
and
a minute.
keyboard.
oh my god.
I'm a high risk driver.
Hang on, let me whip.
Mouse and keyboard
let
for
me
life,
whip
baby.
My mouse across.
Yeet! It's like the Halo controls for
Oh
the
my
first
God.
Oh
game
my god.
with the mouse.
Oh no.
Oh man, the schoolyard rumors, man. That was a trip. Good times, good times. Oh man. All right, well, yeah. So a lot of Pokemon news to talk about, guys. I haven't been this excited about Pokemon in a while. I'm definitely looking forward to the Gen 4 remake. I'm really excited for Legends. I think that it's finally a nice breath of fresh air. Haha, breath, like Breath of the Wild. You know, people like say that, oh my god, this game's like Breath of the Wild. Like, you guys don't go out often. Like, go outside, look at some trees, and be like, wow, this is just like Breath of the Wild.
RTX are like shit outside.
Yeah, dude. This game fucking man. I'll wait when the game goes on sale and the patch notes drop. Anyways, yeah. So yeah, the new Pokemon game looks kind of cool. I'm definitely excited for both of them. I do think that Gen 4. I like the. I know that people are like throwing up a fucking stink about it, and it's just like, man, you can't please everyone.
Listen, it's gonna happen.
Just accept that as quickly as
People
possible.
want to be mad just to be mad, okay? Especially look.
Exactly. Like, you get what you want. It's like that scene from Courage the Cowardly Dog when Miro was like a little
more
kid,
cheese, more
and like
macaroni,
Courage makes the mac and cheese, and he's just like, too much mac and cheese. Too much macaroni, and
If you look at Twitter, then you will get it.
I don't even like
Twitter
mac and
is just
cheese.
toxic like that, all right? You're gonna find
Oh,
it
yeah.
because in Twitter it exists.
Yep.
People just want to be mad to be mad. That's it. That just
Remember, and like people were making the comparison. So at the Link's Awakening
yeah.
remake, like people were like saying like, "Oh my god, this game looks like Link. It looks so bad," and it's just like, oh, I just think it's a different art style. Like people said the same thing about Wind Waker, and now people love that game's art style. Like, you guys just got to give it a try. But yeah, they haven't. Okay, so which one's coming out
Gen
first
4
though?
remake.
Gen 4
remake
right?
this
All
year.
right, so funny thing about the names,
Okay.
they were fan names like 3-4 years ago before they were even made. And I'm just sitting
Of
here
course,
like, man,
yeah.
somebody in their basement made those names, and probably today they're like, I did it! I did it!
Honestly,
This is what's probably happens. Like, oh my god, they actually used my name, and then the Pokemon ninjas come in and they beat the shit out of him for like, hey man, you can't be using our
Honestly,
copyright, man.
the name Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, it's so alpha, dude. Holy crap!
Yeah.
It's just like that's such a nice. I
What
think
a Chad.
Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl has to grow on me a bit, but honestly, Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire was such a brilliant name. Honestly, it's just.
I'm waiting for Gucci.
Wait
Platinum.
a minute. Wait a minute.
And the Supreme Black and White remakes.
Oh. Get the hell out of here, dude! How dare you taint me with such a memory?
Man. But yeah. So yeah, definitely we talked a lot about Pokemon, so this is definitely the titular Pokemon episode. But yeah, it definitely cool shit. Definitely looking forward to it. I'll see if I can. I'll definitely buy the game and then eventually put it on my shelf and never get around to playing it like I
games,
usually
yeah.
do. But you know what? At least I stimulated the economy, and Nintendo knows that I will shill for remakes for games that I played when I was a child. So keep making
Well,
them.
since this episode is actually quite long, our YouTube audience, hey, you should watch it at 1.5 speed, please.
Yeah, if you're real, you know, if you really want to
an
save
elitist.
time. That's the speedrunner way of watching YouTube
Play it at
content.
3 times playback speed.
Hey man,
Wait, is seeking glitch allowed in the speedrunning community?
Oh, wait, repeat that.
Okay, so if we play the game at double speed, assuming that has to be a caveat for the YouTube speedrun, does seeking count as well as speedrunning? Okay, all right, we got to count that as a
man,
glitch run.
I'm trying to consume as much as I can. Man. I gotta consume, man.
I'm a consumer. So yeah, I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap, guys. Yeah. Do you have any closing thoughts
Pokemon
you want to
good
say?
for my heart, especially this year and next year. And happy
That's good.
Pokemon
I'm
Day.
glad. Oh, I was good. Well, at the time of this recording, it'll be Pokemon Day. But I hope you enjoyed your Pokemon game day, guys. I hope you you threw some balls at
Wait
some
a
wild
minute.
creatures and left your home, and then later you left your house at 10 years old. Cause shit, dude. I mean, these people in the Pokemon world, they're ready, man.
They're crazy.
But yeah, Marcus, you have anything else left to say
Just
before we wrap?
Obviously, much like with I'm sorry to bringing it up again, but much like with Cyberpunk 2077, I only wish for the positive, obviously, that games can be successful, obviously, because we want to have a good experience. We want developers to be developers wanting to feel like they actually did a good job at creating a game that they spent so much time on crunching. So I can only wish the best narrative wise for the RCS games, physics wise, everything's just I just hope that everything goes well so we can create more memories and more podcasts like this where we talk about Pokemon, how great it is, even with other series. So, you know, it's just being, just doing the think no evil, do no evil type of mindset. Just like, hey, man, I just wish the best, being optimistic for these companies, and hopefully everything goes well. Hopefully they can create a good series, and hopefully Pokemon becomes even more popular than what it already is. Because even with the Detective Pikachu movie, it did phenomenal. So I just want the best for
Quick tangent. Remember when they said that they were going to make a sequel to Detective Pikachu for the Switch? I never really followed up with that. Yeah. Oh well. So my closing thoughts. Pokemon. I've been on and off with the series. I hate to say that I don't want to say I outgrew it, because, you know, we all were teenagers at one point, and there's a certain phase you couldn't get into Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon in school because, you know, your friends weren't into it and it was past its prime. So, you know, and then when Let's Go came out, everyone suddenly wanted to get back at the Pokemon. I played Pokemon X and Y back in high school, and that's when I was like the last mainline Pokemon game I played. And I enjoyed it. I remember having a good time with it. I have no memory of it at all. And I did play a little bit of Let's Go, but honestly, though, it was a little too much of a steamroll fest where I was kind of like playing the game on autopilot. I did pick up Sword and Shield. I got my Scorn Bunny, did like the first rival battle, and that was it. Like, I never left the starting town.
That's all I'm going to say. The game's super duper linear.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I was definitely, you know, with the whole like expansion pass that they added later. I wonder if it made the game even better.
I could attest for that one and tell you yes and no all at the same time.
Okay. But as far as my take on the current game announcement, I'm definitely excited for the Gen 4 remake. It's definitely nostalgia bait for me. And unlike Let's Go and Eevee and Pikachu, it hopefully won't be a steamroll fest, so I could, you know, actually have a little bit of sense of challenge and a little bit more return to form. I know that I could get that with Sword and Shield, but, you know, there's more nostalgia we're talking about here. The Legends of Arceus game, I'm really happy that it exists because, you know, with certain like structured franchises, they're very scared from deviating like the norm. And I'm assuming the whole turn-based style of catching Pokemon, things like that, is very limiting, especially now that we're playing these games on consoles right now. I was happy to see something like this. I know that we all made fun of the mock-up screenshots of like, you know, Red from Sun and Moon, you know, having a fucking Chimchar next to him in the fucking Breath of the Wild universe. But, you know, I think that could build on something like that, you know? Like, again, with the wild areas being, like, a test to it, like, leading up to it. It definitely makes it pretty exciting. I just like that it's more involving. Like I'm looking forward to like catching Pokemon in that game more than actually battling, because it looks like it's going to be a fun challenge in the game. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, as far as that goes, guys, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap now. Thank you so much for listening to our latest episode of the DKM podcast. You know where to follow us on Twitter. You guys can listen to us on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and anywhere else that they host us. Oh, and of course, Spotify. Thank you so much for listening to this episode, and we can't wait to hear from it. Please tell us what you think about Pokemon and what you think about these announcements. What's your Pokemon memories like? Make sure you add comment down below or let us know on Twitter, because we definitely would like to hear your guys, and maybe we can follow up with more Pokemon stuff in the future. So with that said, guys, thank you so much for listening. Be safe and have a good one. Peace.